Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 20th day of September, 2019. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. Let me put up a chart of the S&P 500 Emini Futures, as I do. That'll work. We could do better than that, right? Do I actually have an S&P chart? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Looks like I do. All right, there you go. Can't see the chart? Go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. On the days you're out of the office, can't get to your desktop, just point a browser to youtube.com/CFRN/live. There you'll find a live real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds, brought to you by the good folks at YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. All right. First, let me extend a deep, heartfelt apology to all CFRN partners, passport holders, etc. et al. When we finished the workshop last night, I took ill. I didn't feel my normal perky self. And so I got horizontal, as we all do, from time to time. And, well, let's just say I made myself get vertical this morning so that I could come and say, how you doing? Happy Friday. I didn't even send out the Concierge Trade Alerts last night. I didn't even realize I hadn't sent them out until I got in front of my computer, and all these little pop-ups from Telegram were like, where's the CTAs? What are we supposed to do? What's going on? Hello? I'm sorry, guys. I really am. You have no idea how deeply that disturbs me that I let you down, but I did, and I'm sorry. So, I don't know, just take it out of my check, I guess. As you can see from this chart, 30-minute S&P 500 E-mini Futures, for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5 hours, we've done a whole lot of nothing. By nothing, I don't mean literally nothing, but figuratively, that's nothing. Because what's happened, we've seen this happen a few times in the last couple of weeks. A weekly trading zone becomes a center of gravity for price. Instead of price doing what we typically see price do, and that's go, from zone to zone to zone. Here's the Fed announcement the other day. We got the Fed announcement. Price dropped to a zone, found good support. Sliced through a zone, found resistance at the zone overhead. And as will happen with slices, it pulled back here to confirm good support at the zone, sent it back up to the zone where it consolidated for a number of hours, then made it up to the zone overhead, consolidated, back down to the zone below, consolidated, and then we're just kind of hanging in never land right here, waiting. Now the market is showing us that it has plans of going to the zone below. That's what this market is saying right here. Yep, going to try to get to the zone below. The only real obstacle in the way of that happening would be way down here, where the market on a pullback found good support. So as price attempts to get to that zone below, we would expect it to encounter some support here. Whether it holds or not, you have to wait and see, but we never got down there. Where we got to, you see this little high right here, leg, retrace. So this swing high, which served for a couple of hours as good resistance, but was overcome, became the point of support right there, pushed us sideways, and then we've just been oscillating once again at this weekly zone, the zone itself becoming a center of gravity for price. In other words, price is below, and then it's above, and then it's below, and then it's above, and then it's below, and now it's trying to get back above again. It is this type of market right here. It looks pretty harmless, looks pretty benign, looks like not a lot going on. True, however, a lot of traders don't recognize that that is what's going on, so they're trying to get long here, and then they try to get short here, and then long here, and then short here. Oh man, and then they're going to try to get long again here until this thing breaks free. The best thing you can do is A, wait, B, go trade another market, or just C, as in see you later, right? All right, let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the US. These are the cash market, the indexes, the indices as they call them. Let me refresh my data. Currently, the Dow is up 70 points. NASDAQ is down 12. S&P 500 is up 5. The Russell 2000 is up 6. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 72 cents, trading 58.85 last. That's a gain of about 1.25%. Gold up $3.40, trading 15.0960 last. In the Asian markets, at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 34 points. Shanghai posted a gain of 7, and the Hang Seng lost 33. And in the European markets, at the close, FTSE down 11, DAX up 10, CAC up 31. That gives us a mixed day in Asia, a mixed day in the UK, And thanks to the NASDAQ, down 12, it is a mixed day here in the US of A. Let's go to Michael and get a recap of everything that happened in the live training room today. And then I'll be back. We'll chat with John. I'll make sure that he's ready to roll. Other than that, I probably won't hold you up a lot today because there's not a whole lot to talk about with this sideways roll and no Concierge Trade Alerts last night. So, again, my apologies. Michael, take it away.
Okay, I got it. And yeah, I totally agree. This day has been boring. Well, I mean, it should be boring to you, but I mean, it's been extra boring.
Now, unfortunately, this kind of a boring day, if a person doesn't recognize it for what it is, it can become a very dangerous day.
Oh yeah, yeah. This kind of a day is when people actually they get their confidence beaten.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
They stop out after stop out after stop out after stop out.
What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. The market's just not going anywhere. It cranks up the car, revs up the engine, and then shuts down. And then it turns around in the driveway, acts like it's going to go somewhere, and doesn't. So yeah, be careful out there.
Yeah. Yes, this is well, I'll go through what we did this morning.
Okay.
And I mean, you'll see that, using our trade setups, doing what we do, keeps you out of the mess. And, I had a lot of distractions this morning, more than normal. I mean, not even including the contractors that have been working at my house. But still, I don't think I missed much because there wasn't much to miss.
There wasn't much to miss, right? Yeah, gotcha.
And I'll go through everything that I did and everything that I did miss, but there wasn't much to miss this morning.
All right. Well, I'll hit mute and let you get after it.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 20th day of September, 2019. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net, and right over here in the right-hand column, it says 5-day free trial. Apply.CFRN.net. If you go there and you click on that link, apply.cfrn.net, it's going to bring you to this page right over here, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us your biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training for you. Hit the send button, and then you'll get another link, a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click that link, we don't know that you took the free trial. Okay, so you have to do that. All right, results today. Like I said, it was a green day. Today is the 20th day, as I said, of September 2019. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today we made 4 ticks in the euro, 1 tick. 1 tick in crude and 2 ticks in gold to get us to $55. We did get our goal for the day, but then we gave it back. Well, we gave some of it back, half of it. Today it took us 86 minutes and 6 trades to get to $110 a contract, and we took a total of 9 trades. So on the month so far, we're at $3,025. That's over 14 trading days, averaging $216 a day. On the year now, we're at $27,792. That's over 170 days, averaging $163 per day. Now those are gross numbers. Gross numbers. Okay. The net with an $8 commission would be right here, and with a $5 commission would be right there. That's if you did everything exactly the same way I did. And you should be doing way better than me. I mean, I don't know how many phone calls I had today that interrupted the room, but I really didn't miss much because of the phone calls. And we'll get into that right now. Okay. Here we go. This is when you can fit all of gold on one screen. That's just a rough day. But there was a trade opportunity right here, first thing in the morning. I didn't get filled on. There was another one right here on gold. I got filled, but it swept back really fast, and I ended up with a -1 on that. I had my stop at +1, but I had 2 ticks of slip, And so I took a -1 on that. Okay. I missed a short right here that went nowhere. Would have been break even. I got that one tick back right here, put me back to 0. Then I got one more tick right here to put me at +1. I missed this long right here. Then I picked up this one right here. I got 9 ticks on that to put me at +10. That was the goal for the day. Then I stopped out and put me back down to 2. And that was it for the morning session. During the break, during the break, there was a short right here. One short right there during the break. Okay. But we ended up with +2 on gold. Right. The euro. Let's see. We had one trade on the euro right there. +4. And we didn't miss anything on the euro. During the break, there was nothing. Hang on. I have to cough. Okay. And these lines down here, for those of you guys who missed the partners meeting last night, these are the areas where if the cycle goes flat like it did right here in the middle, flat and in the middle, I don't like to trade in between these areas. Okay. And I pointed that out in last night's partners meeting. So if you're an active partner, you can go watch last night's meeting. It's only an hour long, I think, hour and a half maybe. Crude oil. Let's see, what do we do on crude? Yeah, my favorite market, crude oil. In the pre-market, crude had some good movement. And, you know, if you were there in the pre-market, good for you. If not, well, you missed it. The first trade was a break even. The next trade I missed. The trade after that, I missed. It looks like, no, that wasn't a trade there. I picked up one tick right here on this one. And I had a break even right there. I missed that long. And then we got into the break. Now, in the break, we would have put in a higher swing. So there would have been a long trade from right here. And nothing else. Nothing else. On the ES, we didn't do anything today. You know, when you can see all of the ES in just about one screen, that's it right there. One screen. That's all of the ES. There were not any valid trade setups on the ES this morning. It was just stuck to that weekly trading zone. During the break, still nothing. Okay, so that's what kind of day it was today. You know, after a high volatility week, which we've had, it's not uncommon to see this. You know, so here we go on the spreadsheet again. If you're gonna look at the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today we made 4 ticks on the euro, 1 tick on crude, 2 ticks on gold. Put us at +55 on the morning. I know that's no big deal, but that is. That is. Today I took 86 minutes and 6 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $110 a contract. We took a total of 9 trades. So on the month now, we're at 3,025. That's over 14 days, averaging $216 per day. On the year, we're at $27,792. That's over 170 days, averaging $163 per day. Okay. Now, if you've not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page at CFRN.net. Right over here, it says 5-day free trial in the right-hand column. Apply.CFRN.net. It says it in a couple other places too, you know, like right here and farther down, right there, and even farther down, there's another one. If you click on any of them, it's going to bring you to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number, and you can tell us your biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training specifically for you. Hit the send button. You'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know that you took the free trial. There. Okay. And with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. And John is in the audience. So, Dwayne, if you are ready, I can open up John's mic.
Please do.
Okay. There you go. His mic is open.
Okay, thanks very much. Recap of the recap.
Today it took 86 minutes and 6 trades
That's
to
a
get
good
to
bingo.
110. It is $110 a contract.
That's the truth about trading. John, you there?
34 days in a row.
Nice.
Knock on wood.
just
Well, I opened up
spoke
his
to him.
mic, but he's
Yeah.
not talking.
Okay. He's been having some problem. He's got a problem with his computer system today. So, but his headset and everything, which has been giving him trouble the last couple of days, seems to have that back under control. So either my phone will ring here in a second, or he'll pop on. If you're there, John, and if you hear the sound of my voice, we can't hear you. So just letting you know. Okay, let's just take a look. Let's go to our daily chart. I wiped out my daily chart, didn't I? I did. All right. We better fix that. We'll make this. Make this a daily chart. That you or John?
That's John.
Okay.
That's John.
All right.
Yeah, no, I was blowing my nose. Shut my mic off.
That project that you've been working on there, have you been able to make any progress with that?
Well, there's a couple of things.
Mhm.
One is MetaTrader 5 is not the same as Easy Language anymore.
No, MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 are definitely different.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Now, there's got to be some sort of conversion method from MetaTrader 4 to MetaTrader 5. Well, there should be. There doesn't have to be.
Well, you
And
know,
the reason
now,
I say that is because NinjaTrader made huge changes that were not backward compatible.
right.
And
Well, my
And
understanding
so-
is that a lot of people still use MetaTrader 4. I kind of like with the Ninja 7, Ninja 8, a lot of people just still use 7. So, if we might check that, because if the data feed that I'm using for MetaTrader 5, if that same data feed works on, in fact, the only reason I got 5 was I originally had installed 4, but I didn't have any data. It looked like it was 4x only, but I'll try logging in, because I have MetaTrader 4 installed. I'll try running it later with the data feed that I'm using for MetaTrader 5. And so if I can pull in futures data on 4, I don't think they have any plans of discontinuing 4. So that might be
Okay.
a better approach.
Yeah.
Hey, John, is that you? I thought I heard him. Okay,
I thought I heard him too.
Bill just posted.
My microphone's way up there. Okay. You guys probably couldn't hear me.
Bill just posted something in Telegram. Rogue oil trader causes $320 million loss at Mitsubishi unit. Mitsubishi Corp said a rogue oil trader at its Singapore unit lost $320 million in unauthorized transactions disguised as legitimate hedges for customers. The employee, a Chinese national working at Petro Diamond Singapore, has been fired and reported to police. Mitsubishi said in a statement declining to name him. The trader, hired in November 2018 to handle oil business with China, repeatedly engaged in the unauthorized deals since January, disguising them to look like hedge transactions. A person familiar with the matter identified the trader as Wang Xingchen, also known by his American name, Jack Wang. Calls to Wang's mobile phone wouldn't connect, while a person who answered the phone at Petro Diamond Singapore office simply said he left the company. No other current details available. A loss. Well, we definitely got John there. I hear his phone ringing. A loss of $320 million would be less than 1/10 of Mitsubishi's projected profit for the year. In August, the giant. Just go ahead and mute his mic, I guess. I don't know why he told me he was
Okay.
coming
Yeah,
on.
he doesn't.
Let me just call him, see what's going on here.
Okay.
You coming on? John, you coming on? Whatever. All right. Another Japanese trading company, Mitsui and Company, was forced to close its Singapore oil trading unit in 2007 after a trader lost $81 million in hidden naphtha trades. The dealer and his supervisor were imprisoned. And in December of last year, 2 top officials at Chinese oil trading giant Unipec were suspended following losses of about $656 million. Beyond oil, another Japanese trading house, Sumitomo Corp, suffered the worst ever rogue trading event in commodities in 1996 when Yasu Hamanaka lost $2.6 billion dealing copper on the London Metal Exchange. In the latest scandal to befall the industry, Mitsubishi said the employee manipulated data in Petrodiamond's risk management system so that the transactions appeared to be associated with actual trades with customers. Large spokesman for Mitsubishi said large losses from derivatives trading were incurred since July as the price of oil dropped, and the unit began an investigation into the transactions in the middle of August when the employee was absent from work. Brent oil, the international benchmark, dropped 16% from its July peak of $67 to as low as $56.23 in the first week of August. Petrodiamond quickly closed the derivatives position once it realized they could result in losses for the company, and also determined that they weren't associated with any transactions with customers. Mitsubishi said investigations confirmed that its unit had sufficient internal controls in place. Well, I would tend to argue with that. I don't like to argue, but if they had sufficient internal controls in place, seems like this wouldn't have happened. The trader was fired September 18th and reported to police the next day. The Singapore police force confirmed that a report has been lodged while declining to give any other information. Petrodiamond Singapore had revenue of $6.7 billion in the year ending March 2018 and EBITDA of $18 million, according to the financial profile file with the city's accounting regulator. So, I'm always puzzled by folks like this who go to great lengths. They're smart enough to pull something off like this and get away with it for a while. I mean, would you agree, Michael? It takes a pretty smart cat to pull off something like this, right?
Yes.
Even though he ultimately
indeed.
got caught, the fact that he got away with it for so long, it's kind of like criminals. Sometimes I look at some of these big crimes that are committed, whether it's a bank robbery and I don't mean a stick 'em up kind of bank robbery, but some kind of fraud. Almost seems like they have to work harder to commit the fraud or the crime than just showing up for work and just doing their job.
Yeah, that's that. Get a job.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And then you don't go to jail.
And then you don't go to jail, which that's like a really good thing.
Yeah.
Now, last night, Greg, you sent a message to me in Telegram asking me about, I don't know if you're here right now, but if you are good, and if you aren't, I'll refer you to this recording. You asked me how to do the price channel thing. So I just drew a trend line. It's the ordinary trend line from this swing low to this swing low. Okay. So now I'm going to click it. I'm going to left mouse click it one time so that it highlights it. Put that little thing on the end, on each end. Now I'm going to go Control C, which is a keyboard command for copy. And then I want to click my mouse up here somewhere. And then I'm going to use the keyboard command for paste, Control V. it's going to drop a trend line on my chart at exactly the same angle. Okay, so now I'm going to hold down my left mouse. I'm going to get over here and I'm going to hold down my left mouse button, and I'm just going to drag this thing. Now, to the naked eye, it looked like a pretty good fit. We can see here it's perhaps not perfect, but it's pretty close. So that answers your question to me of how you create that second line at exactly the same angle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click this line, and I'm going to go to mode, and I'm going to change it from finite to ray, and that's going to extend it off the right side of my chart. And I'll just do the same thing with this one. Finite to ray. So we now have a price channel on the daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures. From the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom, and now attempting a move back to the top. How long can this stay in this channel? Well, considering how wide this channel is, and it's a daily chart, I would say a while. Now, if we go to these, to the most recent all-time historic high, and we go like that, we're just about there, but not quite. The all-time historic high, 3,850. No, 30.32.25. Now I'm on the December contract. 30.32.25, and then over here we've got 30.25. High 30.32. Okay, and then the high 30.25. So about 7 points. We came within 7 points of the all-time historic high in the S&P 500. Typically what we see when we put in a new all-time historic high, well, here's what happened in May. And when we took that high out right here, we had a sell-off. And then when we took out that high, we sold off. That high, we sold off. So, as of yet, we haven't challenged it. All right, let me call John again and see if he's coming.
I think that's him right there, fumbling around with his microphone.
I'm sorry?
John, is that you?
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, John.
Sorry about that.
Welcome to the show.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
Michael.
very much. So, well, you know, this is kind of a weird day today. The
That's
Russell,
what we said. Yeah, what we said. It's kind of...
Yeah. The Russell is up a little bit. You know, it kind of looked like, it actually looks like it wants to break out to the upside. The NASDAQ is weak today. Possibly, by the way, this Roku is a big story.
What's going
got up
on
to
with,
about
what's going on with...
well, it got up to 175 or so, or maybe 178 in a kind of a rocket ship ride. And I mean, it's a pretty remarkable company in terms of how quickly it's grown to where, you know, to the revenues it's at. Roku, that's about the size of it.
It says right here, Roku shares have more than quadrupled this year. Wow, let's take a look at that chart.
But now they're crashing. And, you know, you got to be careful when widely held stocks crash, because they really, pretty good short today. They really, scare the big holders, and can be the prelude to a downturn. And if you so look, you've got a potential ABC correction here, but it's almost gone a little bit too far already to be a C wave, although it still could be. Obviously with this gap area, it has a potential to rebound. and it's coming down to the previous tops before it broke out. So, I mean, it's probably going to be a pretty good trading stock for the time being. It's probably going to be pretty volatile for a while. So we're going to be paying a lot of attention to Roku. Could it ever get, it's a little bit like Facebook, these things with great reach and, big, multi-million users and all that.
Mm-hmm.
They have the potential to come back, and this is sort of like the worst. You remember when Facebook was right down at the bottom? Carter Worth.
Oh, I sure do, yeah.
Came back and said, he said it doesn't see it going back to the highs, and he had to eat his hat on that one because it pretty much got back to the highs, which and it's probably going to go to new highs before too long. Amazon is a bit of a problem, and just check out Netflix, because Netflix is the same sector, and it's suffering. And the reason behind it is, look at it, Netflix. Look at that gap, and now look at the way it's gapping down. It's really bad.
Oh, so we got a gap here that never filled, and now we got another one.
Yeah, and if you could squeeze it up a bit so we can see the history. Mm-hmm. I warned about this a while ago. If you remember, I said Netflix looks like it's going to break down. Hopefully, Mark Cuban sold. He had a pretty big position that he thought was kind of invincible. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
but again, look, in the larger scheme of things, this could be an ABC correction. Maybe it comes down to 240 or 250, somewhere like that, or 230, and then it could potentially go up again. The problem for Roku is that Comcast they're introducing an Xfinity streaming box, and they're going to give it away for free, and you can watch about 10,000 movies on it. So it really is a threat to Netflix. And
so, are you saying the box is the box free, or is the content free, or both?
I don't know about the content. The box is free.
Okay.
It was $4.95 a month. Now they're giving it away. Now it's free.
And here's Comcast. That's looking pretty good.
Right.
I've never used Comcast. I've never been a subscriber. They're not in my area. But the people I know who use it, boy, they sure complain a lot.
Well, that's a good point to keep in mind. But like I say, there's all kinds of streaming devices. I've got something that you can watch about 3,000 different stat channels. It's just unbelievable. And that's really where the future's going. And there's a lot of people nipping away at Roku's heels. And
I hacked my Fire Stick. I can watch stuff that's still in the theaters.
Yeah, Fire is I don't think it's lost on Jeff Bezos. He's a very serious contender in the space, and he's arguably the Fire Stick is the best out there in some respects. So Roku sort of was a leader of the pack. Now it's having a sharp pullback. But I'm pretty sure it's going to rebound. Look, it might go down a lot further because this is a devastating blow to their business model, and but just knowing how stocks behave, you're probably going to get a rebound. And obviously, if the market goes higher, it'll probably lift the sector. Now, if you look at Amazon today,
here we go.
The picture there looks a little bit troubling. That it looks like we might break down a bit here on Amazon.
That's a daily.
Yeah, kind of. It looks a bit heavy. And
Apple's a streaming contender now.
Apple's right up there.
Business, but
check it out. Apple's right up there. It's looking good. I talked to my friend from Microsoft yesterday. He's he doesn't work for Microsoft. He's just a Microsoft fan. Mm-hmm. But he's very, very bullish on the company. And he's the one who called Amazon from 300 and said it was going to go, going to quadruple, and he was underestimating what happened. So nobody saw that move coming in Amazon, and he did, and he's looking for 200, maybe more on Microsoft. So
we're trading
obviously we're
139 right now.
Yeah, what you got to be careful of. We talked about this on Friday. Trump. What knocked? I didn't know yesterday. Thursday. I didn't know yesterday when the market was turning down, I said I didn't like it. I didn't understand what was making it go down, but it was the prospect of 50 to 100% tariffs on the Chinese. That Pillsbury, who's Trump's advisor, came out and said, "Don't rule that out." And then Trump just gave a press release or press conference with the Australian Prime Minister this morning, pretty much said the same thing, that tariffs. In fact, when he was asked to not put the tariffs on October the 1st because it's the 70th anniversary of China, he says, "Well, you want me to put them on 2 weeks early?" so but he's out of respect, he put it 2 weeks after. So I think he's really telling him, don't fool around. Don't. You're in bad shape already. Don't compound it. Get to the table. Or
well, the president's speaking right now. What's the gist of what he's speaking about?
Well, he's talking with the Australian Prime Minister, but he's been on about this. He's talked about China quite a bit today, and saying that he's deadly serious. So now what I warned yesterday is, even Microsoft, you've got a possible double top there, and it would be great if we did pull back to about 132 or 130 or 128, because it would be probably a great buy on a little bit of a pullback. And the market is sort of looking like it might do that, unless if we come in strong early next week, I think we're going to break out to the upside. But there's I would say right now it's the kind of thing where we've made a key reversal yesterday on a lot of things. We're turning down a lot of things. Amazon doesn't look too good. Google, these other things are looking a little bit weakish. Could be in for another correction into the end of the month, perhaps, and then maybe. And you remember, sort of a September, October, there's always a chance that we could pull back a bit. In fact, remember last year October 2 was the high, right? So early October could be the low of the next cycle. I think October could be the low, and then we could do the opposite to last year. We could actually rally right into the end of the year. So maybe that's what's going on here as we go into the second half of September. Have a bit of weakness, and then maybe put in a low in early October. But obviously, looking at that chart, if it doesn't break down meaningfully from here, it's sort of like pull back a bit and then get the energy to go up through that double top or through that high. Right. Then I think we're in for a really big uptrend. Going so. And look, if we get past October the 1st or 2nd, and maybe the Chinese agree to meet, in the first half of October, that could actually get the market going. So something like that. But can you put up HMNY?
HMNY.
NY. Yeah, we hideous method. We shorted that thing at I think it was at 45.
Okay.
So recommended selling it. We and it's sort of down to zero.
It's below zero.
Yeah, it's leading. It's up today. It's up about 50%. But we actually said on this show, believe it or not, when we went out and shorted, it was technically bankrupt. At that time, and it was hard to see. They were burning through a tremendous amount of money.
What do they do?
I can't remember now, but it might have had something to do with Bitcoin. But there's an education.
I don't know if that's the right one.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. No. So anyway, whatever they were doing, it wasn't.
Helios Matheson.
Yeah, and they've reverse split numerous times since. So
guys, if you've never seen this before, take a look at this price. It's less than a penny. 0.01 would be a penny. This is 0.0037.
Yeah, and look at where it was yesterday. So, look, it had something to do. Oh, it's a parent company of MoviePass. There you go. So.
Oh, that MoviePass. Now that when that thing came out, I go, this can't work. How could this possibly work? And in fact, it didn't work. Not because, anybody could see. Ray Charles could have seen that coming. Because how are you going to send? It costs $20 to go to a movie these days. But you're going to let people watch unlimited movies for $9.99 a month? That's
I think
there's
when
a
I mentioned
podcast out
this,
there was really informative about the thinking that went behind this and why they thought it actually could work and why it failed.
yeah, and actually when I said, even though it says 158 million, 50.8 million in 2017 revenues, I think the thing was so upside down. It was like maybe they were losing 250 million or something. It was just a staggering number. And I said, this is just like a .com, it's another kind of a .com deal. Hold on.
Now, MoviePass gets potential lifeline from financier Ted Farnsworth. All right, what's Ted up to today? So for those of you that don't know, we did talk about it on the show briefly. MoviePass was an idea where you would get what you see right there. You could go to the movie unlimited. Anytime you want to go to a movie, first run movie in the theater, the ones with the $40 popcorn. Yeah, that movie theater. $10 a month. Now, this podcast, it's really worth listening to. Movie Pass. I'm trying to remember who did it. Maybe it was The Spectacular Failure. So if you Google Movie Pass, as I did, podcast, if you listen to any of these, it'll tell you this too shall Movie Pass. So apparently there's a number of podcasts out there. Oh, Gimlet. If you're not familiar with Gimlet, Gimlet Media, they have a lot of podcasts. It's a huge company. We've been doing a podcast since 2005 every day with a staff of 2. And here in the past year, thanks to Valerie, we've become a staff of 3. And we put these podcasts out, daily. Gimlet, they need about 100 people to publish a podcast. Now, it's a very high-quality podcast. The sound's incredible, and the scripting's incredible, and they really do quality work. But I just don't know. And podcasts are the hot thing right now. Everybody's got a podcast. People who have TV shows are going out and creating a podcast. Well, we saw that coming in 2005. We were one of the very first podcasts to be in Apple iTunes. And I had a different vision of where internet radio was going way back then. And I think it could still go in that direction. But really the big thing, I think, in the world today is the art of storytelling. They say storytelling has become a lost art. Before man was able to record things and write them down, everything was passed through storytelling. Your traditions and just everything everything about who and what man was and what they were accomplishing was passed verbally, generation to generation. Then we learned to write on the wall, etc. You know the story there. All right, let me back up. No, don't back up. All right. Former Helios and Matheson CEO Ted Farnsworth said Tuesday he wants to buy the company's failing movie theater subscription service. Helios owns a majority stake in MoviePass, which allowed subscribers to attend a movie a day. Okay, I'm sorry, it's not unlimited, just one $20 movie a day for $10 a month. But the service was officially halted on September 14th, but MoviePass service had already stopped in July because the company claimed to be working on improvements to its app. Well, yeah, the improvement would be sell it at a price where the company can be profitable. We built the fastest growing subscription out there with MoviePass, and still to this day, we have thousands of people every day sending us emails to join up and to get on the wait list. So to take it private for now and then to regroup and restart it, the idea is to put a group of investors together and put a bid in for the company. The offer, which requires approval from Helios Board of Directors, consists of all assets, including MoviePass Incorporated, etc., according to the company. MoviePhone. You've probably used MoviePhone. That's where you use your phone to find out what movies are playing in your area. And I'm sure you all know this, but in case you don't, if you're looking for something in your area, your town, the search phrase when you speak to your phone is movies showing near me. You just, whatever you're looking for a gas station, you're looking for a restaurant, you just say restaurant near me. Speak that into your phone and you'll get the results you're looking for. Go ahead, John. We're just looking at the story behind this MoviePass.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, no, that's the whole thing. They were upside down on the revenues from pretty much from the get-go, and I guess it went up on a lot of hype. But I'm pretty. I just remember the numbers. The numbers look staggering. You know, the losses versus the revenues, and it didn't look like there was going to be any kind of a. Any kind of a like positive way out of that situation back then. So, and you know, it's funny. I talking to there's some guys over in China right now. There's a lot of people just trying to flog media deals to China, and it's a very tough space. You know, the media is very competitive, and you know, there's new innovations coming up all the time that can knock you out of the game. Well,
and the fact that, you know, you can, from the comfort of your own home, from your lazy boy recliner, you can watch. Well, as you just said, you've got a box that lets you watch, you know, thousands of movies.
Yeah.
I mean, the motivation to get up and go to a theater. I mean, there's still that experience of going and standing in line and getting your ticket and then sitting in this big dark room, you know, and this huge screen. There's still that element, but people are starting to, you know, weigh, you know, how much value is there in that experience?
Yeah.
Because you can get a huge screen in your. What kind of screen do you use? How big is your screen that you watch movies on?
It's a whole wall.
Oh, so you have like one of those
projectors?
Okay.
Yeah.
And how's the quality, John? Is it good?
Oh, it's 4K. It's fantastic. It's excellent.
And do you need a special wall or?
No, it's really great. I mean, I could get a screen of that size, but it's good enough the way it is. You know, it's really excellent.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I'm starting to get. There's a little bit of support starting to come in on the Nasdaq here. So it looks like it's taken a three point. You see that kind of 3-wave pullback here? If we were to rally into the close today, I would consider that to be pretty positive.
Now, guys, yesterday on the NQ, that same thing that I was showing you earlier on the S&P, where a zone, instead of price turning at a zone the way we are accustomed to, like here, you know, and here, and of course we're used to the consolidation, but this consolidation gets tricky because price is oscillating using the zone as a center of gravity. We're below, we're above, we're below, we're above, we're below, we're above, we're below and above, and you get the picture. Now, as John said, we've actually moved away. We could turn here. That's certainly possible. This is where we found support here. That's sort of an outlier there, but sort of like a compulsive thing. It had to reach down and touch that zone before it could head back up. So, yeah, this could be, but we only have so many hours left this week. Now, Bill just typed into the chat box that today's quadruple witching day. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that could be a a positive force. Yeah, for sure. Like I say, if there's nothing. I mean, we're near all-time highs as we are. There's nothing better than a late Friday rally in the fall. It's really a good thing. It's really bullish.
Speaking of fall, when I went outside, went outside this morning, instead of stepping into a blast furnace the way it typically feels, or has felt all summer, it was cool. There was like a crisp element in the air. I mean, I love fall. It's spring and fall. I really enjoy those times of year. And tonight is Third Friday in Phoenix. That's where the masses descend on downtown Phoenix and wander through all the bohemian art galleries. And there's people out there making tacos on the street. Love a good street taco. And there's bands playing, you know, just people that normally play in their garage. They're set up on the street corner. They got the little coffee can out there for tips. It's a good time, you know. And you get to see the extremes of the human condition. I'm talking, you know, bones in their nose and hooks in their eyes and all this crazy stuff. And I use it as an opportunity to teach my kids what not to do. Okay, son, you don't ever want to do that. There's a new one now. I mean, they've been putting those things in their ears of late. They call them gauges, where it's got that big hole in your ear. But the latest one is where they take out the whole inside of the ear. It's just so bizarre.
With what? What do you mean you take out the inside?
Well, let me show you. Remove inside of ear. That's probably not the right way to say it. Yep, right there.
Oh, that. Oh, God. Horrible.
It's called a concha. The procedure involves taking out the concha, which is the middle bit of the outer ear. Now, why would somebody want to do that?
Damage your hearing doing that as well. You know, your ear is kind of an echo chamber in a way. You know, to focus the hearing. It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
I don't know why listen, you know, you get your body and
Modified,
your DNA.
body modification.
It's just crazy. I don't get it. You know, I actually put out a tweet about climate change yesterday. You know, this is such, you know, they're all marching today around the world, the kids, you know, for action against climate change. And this, you know, Armstrong out of Princeton Economics, said this is a scare tactic that's been going on since the 30s. It's kind of routine. But I think I actually mentioned on the show maybe a decade ago, Dwayne, that time, you might remember, that the scientists were dead worried. And what really got me thinking about this is, you know, the CBS, which is like a perennial. There's a CBS and then there's Bill Weir on CNN. Mm-hmm. These are the two, you know, they're always going these field trips about climate change and everything. And Bill Weir was asking all the questions tonight of the climate change. And I'm going to have to go out for a second. I'll pick up on the theme in a minute.
All right. Okay, guys, if you have any questions about anything, put them in the chat box. If you missed the beginning of the show, I dropped the ball last night. I didn't get the Concierge Trade Alerts out. And so we don't have that to wander through, but we can take a peek at Concierge, not the Concierge, but Logic. Valerie was kind enough to do a recap before the show. So let me find that. Okay, we are in week 59. Week 59. So far this week, this is what's happened. Now remember, we start Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, pedal to the metal, right on up until today, Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. So far this week, we've issued a total of 43 alerts. 10 of them never triggered. One, we're still waiting for it to trigger. When we put out an alert, you know, we give it ample time to trigger, but then at some point we just have to, like, you know, take it off, and we'll mark it with the little Z's, no trigger. Obviously there's one, we haven't written it off yet, still waiting to see if it's going to trigger. So that left us with 32 actionable alerts. 25 found a price target, 7 got stopped out. 22% of actionable alerts stopped out. Okay. Now, is that a concern? Am I alarmed? Because our average over the last year has been 20%. What happened? Well, back up 2 weeks, we had 0 stop outs. And I told you that that's not normal, not typical results. And then last week, I think we had 10% stopped out. Again, not normal. So the pendulum swings both ways. So this was fully expected. Now I could jump in there and do some alerts for the afternoon with a couple of scalps or something and turn the percentage around. And I may or may not do that. It depends on what the market offers. If we close out the week at 22%, not a problem. Because if you average that in with the previous 2 weeks and the previous year, we're still going to put us right around 20%. So let's take a look at the week. Now, we covered in detail yesterday how to properly read the alerts. There was some confusion. I take full responsibility, I suppose, for not explaining it properly, because I thought I had. In fact, I thought I had explained it to the point people were kind of just get tired of hearing it repeated over and over and over. I guess the truth is, if I had explained it right the first time, maybe I would have never even needed to repeat it. But anyway, it is what it is. So let me pull up this week. Okay, here we go. Last week, week 58, we had 65 total alerts, 5 never triggered, 1 carried over into this week. 53 found their target, and 6 were stopped out. But last week was 10%. This week, week 59, S&P, first one stopped out. And now this gap ultimately filled. It's just that it stopped out before it filled. And here's Crude, the Dow, Russell, NQ, Gold, S&P, Dow, Russell, NQ, Gold, British Pound, S&P, there's those Z's, Copper, Crude. Now this is all still Sunday night. Okay. More Crude, more Gold, S&P, Dow, NQ. So that was all Sunday. It was a busy Sunday night. So I went into great detail yesterday on reading the alert properly, understanding. And then I did it again last night in the partners workshop. So hopefully everyone is still on the same page. Here, we'll just take this first one. Consider being short Crude, 60.90 to 60.80 to 60.40, and trail if possible. Well, on this one, from 60.90 to 60.40, that's a 50 tick move at $10 a tick, $500 per contract traded. Now let's just take a look at that one. We'll take a look at a couple of these. Okay, now I will have to. You back?
Yeah.
All right. What else you want to cover?
Yeah. Well, so just going on to this story about the climate change, anyway, they were showing this thing up in Greenland and the ice melting. And, anybody who thinks they can change, have any impact whatsoever on this is just bonkers.
Right.
The reason why, it's not so much the atmosphere, it's really the oceans. And, I think it was about a decade ago, the scientists were very worried because they were measuring extreme cold temperatures at the deep in the eastern Atlantic and the North Sea. And, it's been much colder in the UK and Europe in recent years since this happened. And they were really worried because they thought it was going to freeze over Europe and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And let's face it, the Great Lakes have been freezing over and the Hudson and Niagara Falls and places, been freezing over much more solidly in recent years in some of the brutally cold winters we've had. And right now what's going on is water is coming from the southern oceans, from the equatorial regions and the Gulf Stream, and it's particularly warm, and it's the same in the Pacific. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's just anybody who thinks that can be altered is just brain dead. It just can't happen.
Right now,
and it's good. We just got to learn to deal with the cards we're dealt. We got to learn to live with what the earth brings on, and if we get hit by a meteorite, so be it. It's just one of those things that can happen. What are the odds of it happening? Probably, it hasn't happened in thousands of years or even millions of years, but one of these days it could happen again. That's the risk of life. And but the odds of us waking up in 10 years time and it being a little different from where we are today, pretty high.
Right.
It might be colder, it might be warmer. Nobody can say for sure. So I think it's all a lot of hogwash.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, the areas are so vast, and anybody who thinks that they can be altered by any kind of intervention is just loco. And it's amazing that all these people are caught up in this kind of mass hysteria about this right now. It's really crazy.
It is, John. It is. My son, he says the kids at his school, because my wife read this, that high school kids are so caught up in this thing that they've lost. This article went on and on about how they've lost their motivation to plan for the future. They're not concerned about getting jobs or any of this other stuff because they think the world's going to end in 12 years or whatever. So my wife asked my son, is this a real thing? The kids actually believe this? And he says, yeah, Mom, to some degree, yeah, they do. Some of them, I think it's just an excuse to be lazy, but I'm a harsh guy, so.
Yeah, no, looks like we're turning down again, so not so great.
Bruce had asked a question, John. John, are there any ramifications to the nugget being down and the J-nug being up?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a positive, actually. I think when the J-nug is leading, it's a sign. It's a sign we may go higher. And more recently, the nugget has led the J-nug, but we could be coming to a time where the J-nug starts leading the nugget because maybe there's being more interest shown in the smaller stocks by the institutions. They're sort of probably looking around to see stocks that haven't moved yet. Also, what I'm hearing, I heard today from a very good source, there's about $20 billion coming out of tech. It's kind of interesting because you think these guys are diehard techies, all their life, if they made a ton of money out of tech, believe it or not, they're pulling out of tech and they're going into gold. And so there could be $20 billion of solid gold buying here from the 1500 higher. And that could be monumental because right now the commercials are short. And if they get caught short in the next rally, I think the rally could be very, very significant, as we've already kind of just talked about.
Right.
Wait a minute, was there a big spike just now or something?
Well, somebody just typed in, Bruce just said Bill said big sell-off. Bruce said, wow, hang on, let me pull up the chart. As we're sitting here trying to think of something to talk about, something happened. And my chart's locking up.
Because I don't have my full system today. I'm living on kind of a delayed deal.
Oh, pray tell. What's going on? All right. Come on, chart. Don't fail me now. All right. Oh, look at that. What happened? Does anybody have any news out there? Let's see. Guido says it's China delegation news. Don't know what that means.
China what?
China, what does that mean, Guido? If you were trying to spell Guido, you missed. China delegation news. I don't know. Let me go to...
They mustn't have liked what Trump said this morning.
Okay, here we go. Bill just gave me a thing. 214 Newsbot. Montana Farm Bureau says the Chinese delegation has canceled its U.S. farm visit to Montana, and agriculture officials are returning to China sooner than expected. Thank you very much for that, Bill. So that's the deal. All right, let's see how it affected gold.
Yeah, it kind of looked like the
positive move in gold right up to a zone, 1617 so far. What about crude?
Well, now the JNUG's now you know why the JNUG's starting to pull ahead of the nugget.
Yeah, I've been threatening to reboot all week. I really got to do it. Computer's lagging horribly. Okay, so we got some movement in crude, but nothing spectacular. All right,
check out the beans. Yeah, listen, I better run. But
all right, John.
Thanks for. Okay, have a great
weekend.
Bye bye.
All right. Okie doke. Well, looks like we just might have some tradable opportunities this afternoon after a rather quiet morning. Let's see. Go back to the S&P for a moment. Let's go back to that daily chart that I brought up. That's 30 minutes. If you're wondering what's with the blue around my candles, I was fiddling the other day, and I'm not much of a fiddler, so. All right, 30 minutes daily. I just got to change it back. It was a mistake. Chart's lagging badly. Okay, well, from the daily perspective, it's kind of just a blip on the radar screen. So let's go back. Now we've rolled forward to the X contract in crude. The reason I had the V contract up is because the alert we were talking about came out during the V contract. All right. So let's get off daily. Minutes. Okay. So here's the Sunday night gap higher open in crude. And that alert was short 60.90. Which was here. 60.90. All right, 60.90. The alert said that a short 60.90 to 60.80 to 60.40. All right, so that's a 50 tick move, $10 a tick, $500 per contract traded. 60-40. Now 60-40 is just right here. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but it is $500 per contract traded. Okay, but that's really not a good example to show you what I was trying to get across. Let's just jump up to Monday. Let's take a look at Monday. All right, here's a crude on Monday, 62.30 to 64 to 62.40, trail if possible. Okay, that's 10 ticks, $10 a tick, $100 per contract traded. But there's more than meets the naked eye, and this is somehow in my explanation. Some folks had kind of missed that. See, the part that says trail if possible, that's not just, it's not just something to fill up white space on the page. Let's go find that on the chart. All right, so we're talking September 16th. Now, 2:55 p.m., that's Pacific time. I'm in Phoenix, 8 months out of the year, we're on Pacific time. The other 4 months, we're on Mountain. So that would be 5:55. Basically, the Globex Open Monday night. So let's find that on the chart. Okay. Wow. All right. So this is Monday, and we're looking for the Globex Open. And my chart's really struggling here. Good thing we're about done. Apparently I'm not going to be able to show you because I can't get my chart to cooperate. You know what? Maybe I'll make a video. That's what I'll do. I'll make a video. I'm not gonna bore you and antagonize myself. I'll make a video and I'll post it. And I'll put a link in the Telegram, and maybe I'll even ask Valerie to send out an email. I'm going to go into some detail. I really want to explain this one last time, and then we'll make that just a permanent archive on the website, Telegram, so that no one's ever confused about that again.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Sound good? Okay.
It sure does.
Okay. Let me get my computer to cooperate here just a wee bit more. We'll wrap this thing up for the week. In a nutshell, what you're going to see in this video, every alert, every Concierge Trade Alert, every Logic 247 alert, okay, you got an entry. You got an initial target. At the initial target, that's where you look around. Basically, you're looking at your chart to see if the chart supports the move that you're in. If it does, you're not going to get out at the initial target. If you're just getting started, just learning, and you just want to go in there and clip those points the way we teach so that you start to gain some confidence in your ability to do so, okay, well, that's fine. But once you get beyond that point, you are going to stay in a trade until the chart gives you a reason to get out. Okay? So if it says be long 62.30 to 62.40 and then trail if possible, what you have to do is you have to look at your chart and you have to see it's a long trade. Where's the next weekly trading zone overhead? If it's at 63 or 64 or 127, that is your trade to target. As we're climbing, the only thing that would take you out of that trade would be price getting back below the BBC. Even when you hit that trade to target, hang on for a second, because it could slice through it. If it starts to consolidate, then you may want to consider taking profit there. But every alert, logic, concierge, if you're long, your target is the zone overhead. Yes, you've got an initial target in the logic alert, but your trade to target is the zone overhead. If it's a short trade, your trade to target is the zone below. Price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone. From Sunday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern until Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern, price is trying to get to a zone. Now, when it goes sideways, the way we were looking at this morning, oscillating above and below, that's the market telling you, hey, I'm having a little trouble making up my mind here. I need some fuel thrown on the fire so I can get up and go. And that's exactly what we just saw when these delegates decided they were going to pack up and go home. That was the fuel the market needed to make a decision to get going. And it did. Thank you, market. Okay. Today we're going to talk about stepping back and looking at the bigger picture. Now, in trading, sometimes, well, let me explain how this works. You become a trader, you're excited, you learn all kind of stuff, and then at some point, you either discover it on your own or somebody mentions it or you read it. If you can take 2 points a day out of the S&P, just 2 points, right? You can make as much money as you really want to make if you can consistently take 2 points a day out of the market. You just have to increase the number of contracts. We talk about that all the time. That's not new news for you. You know that. But most folks, when they stumble upon that fact, when they gain that knowledge, it changes everything. Oh, baby. All right, now I know the secret to the markets. So I'm done trying to knock it out of the park, done trying to hit home runs. I'm just going to focus on clipping those 2 points a day. Now, that's not a bad idea. Don't get me wrong. I support that. So how am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to tighten things down. I'm going to ratchet it down, which typically means going to smaller time frames. I'm going to ratchet it down, tighten it up, so there's no room for error. Unfortunately, when you're trading Emini Futures, if there's anything you need, it's room for error. I'll say that again. If there's anything that you need when trading Emini Futures, it is room for error. So people typically will tighten their chart, their time frame up, tighter. So there's no room for error. And then they wonder why. I don't understand why I always get stopped out. I don't like that term, you got to give it room to breathe. I guess it works. It's okay. But you really do need to give it room to breathe. We know that price channels back and forth, whether the markets are rising or falling, back and forth. But when we decide to take an entry, we want the market to stop that channeling business and just go straight, make a beeline to our target. That doesn't usually happen. What usually happens is you get stopped out. Now, we train on a pretty tight time frame in the live training room. It's a range chart. Every candle is exactly 4 ticks tall. Reason for that is we're trying to teach you the setup. We're trying to teach you how to execute it, how to manage it, etc. If we were using the 30-minute chart, which is my go-to chart, if we were using that in the live training room, you might get to see, one trigger a day, or maybe a couple on an active day. But that's it. Using this range chart, you're able to see it over and over and over. You probably see 5, 10, 15 setups in the course of 1 2-hour session. The purpose of the live training room, we're not a trade calling service in that traditional respect. The reason you come to the live training room is not so that you can mimic Michael and get your points for the day and be able to call yourself a trader. No. It's so that you can watch him do what we do over and over and over so that you can learn how to do it. And I know that there's new people sometimes get confused as to why we're really here this morning. We're here this morning so that you can learn how to do what we do. Part of that can be, copying what we do as we do it, but you got to be careful because we don't want you to become dependent on seeing us do it so that you can do it. No, we want you to be able to just look at the chart, put our indicators on, put your weekly trading zones on, and do it yourself. That's power. That's when you can call yourself a trader. Okay? Now, if you're ratcheted down to that small time frame, you can get what we call tunnel vision, or caught up in the tick vortex, I've heard it called. The difference between a 4-tick range chart and a 30-minute chart is pretty drastic. Let me show you an example here if my chart will cooperate. Okay, so that's the S&P. Pretty easy to see what happened here, right? Doesn't need a lot of explanation. If I switch it to a 4-tick range chart, this has been a quiet morning, and then that one move was directional. Let me back it up just a little bit. All of this behavior here, let's say this is from, what day is this? This is the 20th. So from 11 o'clock to 11:30 Eastern. You got all this movement. Back and forth, back and forth. Because of the directional move we just had, this doesn't look bad, but it doesn't give you the clarity that you get. See, when you look at that, I do have the zone on, so that helps. But what's really happening here? If you take a step back and look at the big picture, you can really see what's happening. Okay? 1 Corinthians 16:9, a great and effective door has opened to me, and there are many adversaries. So when you increase that time frame from the range to the 30-minute, you can see a whole lot that you couldn't see on that 4-tick range chart. Is there an enemy lurking about? In other words, you're in a long trade. Is there, a potential for good resistance right overhead? Like if we start rallying here, you can see this resistance here, but on the range chart, it might not be evident. All right. One day, the Chamber of Commerce in a small town invited a successful businessman to come and speak. The local economy was bad, and they were discouraged, so his job was to motivate them. He took a large piece of white paper and made a red dot in the center of it. He asked the audience, "What do you see?" One person replied, "I see a red dot." The speaker said, "Fine, but what else do you see?" Others chimed in, "Red dot, red dot, red dot. I see a red dot." Everybody saw the red dot. The speaker asked, "Well, don't you see anything else besides the dot?" The audience responded with a resounding no. No one saw anything but the red dot. The speaker said, "You've overlooked the most important thing. You missed seeing the sheet of paper." Then he went on to explain that in life, we are often distracted by small, dot-like failures and experiences. They keep us from seeing the blessings and successes that are more important than the disappointments that try to monopolize our attention and drain our energy. Paul wrote, "A great and effective door has opened to me, and there are many adversaries." Opportunity and obstacles, they go together like macaroni and cheese or fish and chips. Now, Paul didn't deny the reality of the opposition he faced. He just chose to focus on the opportunity it presented. The poet wrote, "Two men looked through prison bars. One saw mud, the other stars." So let me ask you, what are you looking at? Are you so preoccupied with what is that you've lost sight of what can be? If so, you need to step back and ask God to help you see the bigger picture. And that's a good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. It is the weekend, so CFRN Charter dictates that you must spend quality time with your family. Wow, my wall of headphones just came crashing down around me. Had quite an interesting day. What's going on? No, seriously. What's really going on? All right. So, spend quality time with your family. I'll see you in church on Sunday. Again, thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.